Hello, my name is Teresita Blanco, the Artsy sister, and we're doing today King's Choice. Like off screen, I made my knights a little stronger in order to be able to move the plot along. And if you're just tuning in, between the little battle scenes of the main plot, I sometimes tell you random medieval knight facts and little stories and whatnot. Alright. Let's see if we can get past this jump. It's a lot of HP. Yeah, the last time I was streaming this, I was like telling you about the Knight Don Quixote de la Mancha. Like it's yeah. Alright, so now we move the plot along. You and your companions debate on how to rescue Diana. Let's just kill that traitor. Don't worry, Your Highness. Can never defeat us. No, that would only put Diana's life in even more danger. I'll go on my own. No, it's too dangerous, Your Highness. I guess my knights are not gonna let me go on my own. Which just as well. So yeah, like I was saying, so like if you're not caught up today with like if it's just your first time tuning in, like Don Quixote's story of like guy, like they call him an old guy, but you were considered old if you were 40, like during the Renaissance period. And during that time, the knights were no longer, like there were no more knights because after the country got unified and the musket was invented, it made like armors obsolete. Because think about it, to train somebody to be a knight is like it's just a whole training regimen just to get them to stay on their horse without falling off, and let alone the sword training and like wielding the lance and whatnot. Well, if you're just training somebody to like shoot a gun, that can easily be done in like minutes. Heck, in the U, heck, Lafayette proved it, because Lafayette was like a French who helped the Americans gain their independence from Britain, and he was famous for how quickly he could teach a run-of-the-mill farmer how to shoot the musket. And then the guys he trained, they were called the Minutemen because they were trained to fight in under a minute. So you can't compare a Minuteman to like a knight, because like yeah, the knight comes on horseback with like their sword and stuff, and then a Minuteman just shoot him square in the forehead, and that's the end of that. And that's the end of that knight's tale. So yeah, so basically Don Quixote came about. Decided to become a knight during a time period where like knights where the whole concept of knighthood was just practically a joke. But he liked the books and he just decided to go with it. Like when he would discuss knights with his friends, like in Renaissance, like knights were like modern day superheroes. Like they would discuss like Don Quixote, before he got into dressing up like a knight, he would go to the barber shop and speak to the barber and his priest friend about the knights that they had read about in books, and they would like constantly compare, like say, oh, Amadis de Gaula was very strong, but then the other guy be like, no, I like better his brother, because Amadis was such a ridiculous, he was such a crybaby. And at least his brother would tough it out every time the wizard would kidnap him and torture him and whatnot. So then that's how it was. Knights were like their Batmans and their Robins and all of the other stuff. So then, in a sense, you could think that Don Quixote was like the first recorded instance of a cosplayer, somebody that he read a lot of something of something in a fiction book, and then he decided to like go dress up as them and go fool around. And the reason why he could do that was because he had literally too much time on his hand because he wasn't like rich, he was just a well-to-do farmer. And he had so then he started selling part of his land and property in order to go buy books. But it's interesting to say that before he did the night stuff, he would go out hunting. So it was socially acceptable for him to like entertain himself by shooting poor animals in the forest, but it was bad for him to like dress up as a knight and like go on little adventures. So different social standards and whatnot. For like they just hated him for trying something new. You want to make carry along, but Greg is friendly opposed to your idea. We can set up an ambush. Good idea. This way we'll be able to rescue Diana, and my own safety would also be guaranteed. Great minds think alike, my friend. Haha. Your plan sounds dangerous. There's no other. Greg be like, his plan is bad and he should feel bad. There's no other option, Greg. I must help Diana. I know you'll do your best to protect me. Alright, let's see if I have enough resources to make it past. It's fine. So yeah, so like the first time that I forgot to so then in order to build up his fancy night cosplay and whatnot, he first got the armor, and then he went to look for like the horse, because like in night books, the horse of the night is almost as important as the night itself. And the example that they cited was that everyone knows up to this modern days. Well, I don't know if you know it, but that Alexander the Great's horse was named Bucephalo. So everyone knew what Alexander's horse was called. So then he'd be like, I need to come up with a cool horse name. With all the preparations duly completed, you finally meet Carrie in a village of Marguerite. Carrie is staring at you, and his eyes filled with contempt, and Diana standing right next to him with her arms tied up. Haha, so you really came alone. Leave Diana out of this, Carrie. She did nothing wrong. Your Highness, go away. They're planning to kill you. If I had a nickel. Like at the start of the story, they try to murder my main character, so like they're trying to kill the Lord. That's like the day-to-day life of literally everyone with a little bit of power. There's always somebody in the background planning their death. But back to the Don Quixote story. So then he found himself. So then he brought out the oldest horse he had on the stable. Well, actually, the only horse he actually owned, which he ended up calling it Rocinante, which means Rosin means horse, and ante means before in Spanish. So the name of the horse basically means used to be a horse. And as for Don Quixote's very own name, in Quixote is the butt part of the armor. So his actual canonical name is said butt armor, which is ironically one of the pieces of the armor that he was missing. So it was just a silly satirical name. Because you gotta remember, or you probably don't know, that the writer of the book, Cervantes, he wrote Don Quixote while he was rotting away in the ugliest prison cell that you can possibly imagine. So in order to distract himself from his horrible reality of being in a terrible prison, not that he did it's not like Cervantes was arrested for something or anything. He was just a prisoner of war. And anyone who's been in a prisoner of war type of camp knows that you gotta do literally anything to distract yourself, otherwise the enemy breaks you. Like he was captured in the Battle of Lepanto, and then in the battle he ended up losing one of his arms, which earned him the nickname El Manco de Lepanto. So yeah, he wrote an entire book in prison while missing an arm. Well, we don't know if it was his dominant hand or not. Hopefully, he didn't have to teach himself to write with his left arm, but and like he was eventually rescued by warrior monk. So yeah, even just the writer himself, he lived a very colorful life. But yeah, but back to so obviously he knows about battles and stuff because he was legitly a soldier who fought in the war and whatnot. The eternal war that the Spanish had with the Moors that almost conquered the entire country and whatnot. But yeah, but that was the modality of back then, like constant wars over territory and whatnot, like having the frontiers constantly being delineated and redrawn all the time. Like I know that like movies and stuff tend to like glamorize it and whatnot, but imagine just being like a regular citizen like during those time and like one day one country comes and then it like completely takes over and then like murdering half the countryside, but then like the old owners of your property then come back and then they push it in and then it's just like a cost and then you just don't know where to stand to avoid like the bullets and whatnot and arrows and whatever. But so then Don Quixote, once he gets his horse and armor, he be like, well, I'm ready to go play knight. So then he stops at an inn because a lot of great night stories. If you think of it, tell me like even in modern times, how many night stories or movies begin with like the knight walking into like an inn at the bar area. And I walks into a bar. How many and hilarity ensues? Like, how many nice stories begin like that? Having been kidnapped by Carrie, Diana anxiously looks at you. Don't worry, Diana, he won't dare to hurt us. Your Highness, if I were you, I wouldn't be so confident. Carrie claps his hand, at which point a group of soldiers runs out and surrounds you. Well, I was expecting a trap. Alright, let's see if we have enough resources to make it past. Plot along. Like I tend to just have all of my knives and whatnot. But you can follow whatever strategy suits you and whatnot. That's why you just roll a dex in through them. Instead of just having one that's OP and instantly kills everything. You just have like the later night levels you just get more and more expensive. You arrive at the designated spot, but you're ambushed by Carrie's soldier. Ah, your highness, watch out. Kneel down and admit your wrongdoings and beg for mercy, and if you do, I might forgive you. Oh yeah, you like me to beg, don't you? I, the sovereign of this land, will never beg for your mercy. As you please, soldiers, slay the Lord. How dare you to try. But yeah, like if you were like a lord in medieval times, you either knew how to fight or you knew how to die very quickly. Like you couldn't just trust on your knives to like keep your head intact. But yeah, back to Don Quixote. So then he arrived at the inn and then he says to the innkeeper, I'm going to be staying at the inn. And then the innkeeper says, that'll be 10 gold coins. And then Don Quixote be like, no, 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 that's not how it's supposed to work. A knight always stays at an inn without paying. But then the innkeeper be like, dude, like nice books they don't like I read similar nice books and you gotta consider something that just because it's not written in the nice book doesn't mean that it didn't happen, because consider this fact that knights are human beings of flesh and blood, and And since they're beings of flesh and blood, obviously if they eat, then they have to use the bathroom. But obviously none of the life books ever say that the knight got off his high horse in order to take care of his human necessities. Ergo, pay for the inn, you cheap bastard. So yeah, so then since Don Quixote didn't have money to pay for the inn, he said that he was going to pay him by standing guard over his castle. And then he'd be like, okay, whatever, crazy dude with a sword and an armor. So then he goes out of the castle, quote unquote, in order to stay in the middle of the night. So then, after he finishes a little side quest, the innkeeper knights Don Quixote, or then it makes him as knight of his castle, quote unquote. So then, Don Quixote, through his nonsense, he managed to convince the innkeeper to let him stay in there for free, but then because of his cleverness and whatnot, so he actually got away. So he actually got away with not paying to stay at the inn, and he got to play night, and he got to get able to convince someone else to play along with him. Hilarity of somebody playing night in that day and age. But then he thought that he wasn't always gonna get lucky, so then he went back home in order to resupply it, like sell another piece of land and then get like some spending money for his night errands. So then he also figured that he needed an escudero or a squire in English terms, which basically a squire is somebody that helps you put on the armor, saddles your horse, you know, handles your money, makes the food, just a helping hand, a servant. So then he got for himself Sancho Panza, which was another local guy. And among the crazy, and aside from paying him money, he told him that if he followed him on his crazy quest, because he didn't have give himself a quest just yet. He, like in the first book, he's a wandering knight and basically it's just as the name says, you a la Skyrim, where you wander about and looking for adventures, and then it's whatever how you happen to run into. That's a wandering knight in a nutshell. But yeah, another thing that I forgot to mention that so yeah, then he got his shield guy, but before he got even all of that, he had to get himself a romantic interest. By law, well, at least by medieval law, you couldn't be a knight without having a romantic interest. And then and then you go to all of these battles while thinking of your girlfriend and like praying to her almost like a deity. Even more so than like Jesus Christ style. The soldiers rush towards you, but you masterfully dodge their attacks. Don't be foolish, your highness. Just surrender already. Make me. You're the one who should surrender. All of a sudden, your knights dash out of the shadows, running straight towards you. How dare you ambush me? How dare you ambush me? I suppose you should call this payback, and it's time to reclaim my glory, my knights. All right. Okay, so let's do the boss battle. So yeah, Don Quixote decides as part of the night, you have to get yourself a romantic interest and invoke her name every time you like going to battle and whatnot. So then Don Quixote chose for himself a local maiden that was 20-something years old, and he had so it was kind of like a romantic interest for him in a sense, because it's established canonically that he had a little crush on her, but he never got the guts in order to go speak to her. And mostly because he was like, because he was 40 and she was like a 20-year-old. Bright knights are rushing to your side, each one preparing to wage war. Well, Your Highness, get ready for a bloodbath because victory is ours. Do it for the Lord. But yeah. So like he had a little crush on her, but then since he didn't like the name of the woman that he liked, he decided to rename her. Reason why he decided to give her to think of her with a different name is because since he was so shy towards her, he didn't want her to know that he was like in love with her. So then whenever he would talk about the woman he liked, he would call her by a different name, and that way nobody would ever know who she truly was. So then the alias that he gave to his loved one was Dulcinea of Toboso. And Dulcinea means sweetie. You know, he called her my sweetie. Because Dulce means sweet. And Toboso, well, that was where she was born. So that's the only canonical thing that we truly know of Dulcinea. The only thing that we truly know about her is that the, the only thing we truly know about Dulcinea is where she was born and that she was a neighbor of Don Quixote. So we know remotely where he kind of lives, because they tell him that he lived in La Mancha, but they didn't give a specific address. That way nobody would feel alluded to. So yeah, so he got himself a girlfriend and a squire, so then he was ready to like go on adventures and whatnot. Like I think one of his early adventures is where he fights the windmill while pretending that he's a giant. That's one of the first ones, right, Fish? The other sense is like episodic. It's like hard to once he gets into his little adventures, it's hard to remember what came first. If it's his stupid fight against the windmill or against the shepherds. Or
no, the shepherds came first.
no, yeah.
Then the windmill.
Oh yeah. The first thing he attacked were a bunch of shepherds that were just like outside grazing their stock. Just so then he would tell like Sancho Panza, oh look, a band of goblins, and then Sancho Panza be like, no, those are sheep, hobgoblin everything. and then he would go beat up the sheep because it was fun, and then like the farmers be like, what the hell is that coming our way? And then naturally he would get beat up because no, I think he won against the farmers. Yeah, they were just I think the farmer. Like he just went to antagonize a poor little farmer boy just trying to do his day job, and he butchered a couple of his sheep. Yeah, but then like the dog spooks his horse, and then he runs away from the battle, but not because he wanted to. So then after he battles the sheep, then he's a priest, right? Oh yeah, so then like night falls, and then he sees like an eerie procession of like hooded figures with lanterns. Like just think of like the Catholic. There was an order of the Catholic priests during those times in like the 1500s. And think about like from far away, they like their outfits. They just look like the KKK because of those weird hoodoo. But basically, that clan just stole the look of some Spanish priests, because that's just of like some individuals that they just steal the look from someone else in order to go do the crime and whatnot. And in Spain, that look belongs to like a priest order. Under your command, your knights annihilate the enemy troops in a blink of an eye. You bunch of losers. Lord Cabby, we lost. Let's run for our lives. Cabby, you must surrender. Cabby draws his sword and presses his blade against Diana's neck. No, I haven't lost yet. Ah! What are you doing? Don't matter my dog. My doctor needs a doctor. Somebody do something. So yeah, there was a creepy procession of hooded figures in the middle of the night with lanterns. So then he thought that they were ghosts, and not like and even Sancho Panza, who's like the sensible, the two also thought of it because it was just a very creepy thing to see in the middle of the night. So then Don Quixote goes and tackles the ghosts, and even he doubted whether they were beings of flesh and blood. So he just went for it. Negotiations unlocked. Hold negotiations with other lords and upgrade the decrease cost to increase your hero's attribute. Alright, so we unlocked something new. Let's just see how that goes. Your Highness, you can now hold negotiations with other lords. Great. And there are a few decrees that I need to discuss. Let's get to work. Your Highness, you can initiate negotiation or join an existing one. When negotiations con your Highness scroll point, allowing you to issue new decrees and increase attributes and talent level for your knight. Oh, they're like in cute little round tables. Let's just join in and... Alright, so we'll just leave it at that for now. And just claim all of the stuff that I got for clearing the chapter, and then off we go. Purchase an item in the item store. Well, it's a required thing, so I might as well. I'll just get the cheapest thing for now. Or no. Alright. So then we... Okay, what's the requirement of this? Nice, 2 nice reach level 90. Alright, so I guess I'll just level up this guy. And now we're back to chapter 31. A new lease on life. Carrie's truth might have been defeated, but he has no reason to surrender, as Diana's life is still friendly in his grasp. If I perish, so would she. Diana! Your Highness, don't worry about me, Carrie. Even if you kill me, you'll never escape Her Majesty's wrath. Even in the face of death, Diana remains calm and rational, the exact opposite of Carrie. Go to hell, you wicked witch. God. So yeah, he attacked the possession of monks, and then obviously they defend themselves. So then after the skirmish, just like this, it said that he's one night going after a bunch of like poor monks just doing like their religious stuff. Like Don Quixote in his books, he gets beat up 9 out of 10 times, but sometimes he does win major battles, but we haven't gotten to them yet. But then again, he's just getting practice. He's a level 1 cosplayer knight. He needs more practice with his lance and his horseback in order... Well, he did beat up the shepherd boy. So yeah, that's one victory. Let's just try to keep count. And the mirror knight which shows up in Dark Souls. Yeah, and the mirror knight which shows up in Dark Souls. Like if you remember the Mirror Knight in Dark Souls, that is a reference to Don Quixote de la Mancha, because in the second book, he gains a nemesis called the Mirror Knight. And somebody that just as it describes, somebody that has as his shield a mirror. Which is a cool look for him. Like it's a cool look for any knight, So yeah, and I think well, moving along. So then after he defeats, finishes antagonizing the Catholic priest, one of them is like very angry at Don Quixote, so he tells him, you are hereby excommunicated, Don Quixote. No, you're not allowed to enter the Catholic Church or anything. You're turned out of, like, to be excommunicated means that you're turned out of Catholicism. And yeah, you're practically going to hell. But then Don Quixote was super blasé about it, saying that Rodrigo Díaz de Vivar also got excommunicated, and then because of his knight deeds, he was allowed back into the Catholic Church. So, all I had to do is be a better knight in order to regain my entry into the temple, and then and just because you excommunicated doesn't mean that I can just have a different priest bring me back into the church. What he was blasé about it is one of his best friends was a Catholic priest. This guy excommunicates me, but then my friend priest is just gonna let me back into the church. So I'm not worried. Back to antagonist, back to butchering the priest. Ah! Well, he doesn't like actually kill anyone in any of the books. Like nobody dies because of his nonsense. But they do get beat up, and it makes him angry and annoyed. But yeah, so then he finishes. So then on his next adventure, he fights the windmill.
No, afterwards he goes against the tavern, then the windmill.
Oh no, yeah. After he goes back, he does the tavern thing. Oh, and that's where when he goes back to the tavern, the woman over there, the poor woman over there, they decide to pick on Sancho Panza.
Oh, and then that's also where he gets knighted also by the tavern.
Yeah, and then he gets knighted. So yeah, so then he gets so then he goes back to the inn and whatnot. And Sancho Panza gets picked up by the ladies. Like, I think that scene has made it to the movies where they just put him in a bedcloth and then just make a trampoline out of him. Not that they made him into a trampoline. They started like, wee, just throw him into the air, because that's what you do. That's what you did when you were bored out of your mind. Just antagonize the wildlife and like the local people. Cause or dress up or if you're really really bored, just dress up as a knight and like go beat up randos on the street. When he realizes that Diana's life is in great danger, Karen sneaks behind Carrie, and he raises his sword and strikes at Carrie, leaving Diana alone. And so don't yell when you're gonna sneak kill someone. You lose the element of surprise. You vile. You rush over to help Diana. Did he hurt you? Diana shakes her head. No, I'm fine, thank you. You saved my life. It's about time we finish him off. Agree. Alright. So yeah. Which one was I talking about? Yeah, so he was at the tavern, he gets knighted, and like the courtesans, they pick Sancho Panza for their own amusement. So then their next adventure brings them to the windmill. That's like one of the most iconic Don Quixote fights, where he fights a windmill while pretending that he's a giant. Kervin, hiding in the shadows all alone, rescues Diana from Carrie's hand. How dare you ambush me? And not much else will work against a scoundrel like you. Everything has worked out according to plan, and it's over, Carrie. Surrender. So then he tells him that the giant, that it's a giant with like twisting, rotating hands and whatnot. And then Sancho Panza be like, seriously, dude, you can't be that crazy. That's obviously a windmill. And then he gets uber beat up by the windmill, obviously, because he charges it with the lance, and then the windmill just picks him up and holds him out, and then he throws him to the side. and he survives it, and so does the horse, which is like a miracle. Oh yeah, so then what was the other adventure? Oh yeah, like for a time he decides to go be like a crazier night in the woods, just to be like a recluse hermit doing acting crazy because of his loved one. Cause that is something that he saw in a book. So then he told Sancho Panza to look at him while he's doing crazy stuff. And then Sancho Panza be like, "Oh, can I just see you do one crazy spin?" And then he'd be like, "All right, I'll do a cartwheel just for you." And then he does a cartwheel. And then no, they don't go back to the Inderman. No, like while wandering in the forest, while doing stupid cartwheels in the forest, they run into a different lunatic. And then they befriend him. They ran into a noble that was doing literally that same thing as well. But his reason was that he was very sad because he wasn't able to marry the woman that he liked. So then he just left his home and went to live in the woods as a hermit. And then that leads to some other adventures with back and forth and other nobles just fighting and whatnot. And then that eventually leads to like the big action set piece in a fighting set piece in the first book of Don Quixote, with all of the nobles, and it's like his madness was contagious, and they ended up fighting each other while pretending to be opposing enemies and whatnot. And then it was him of all folks who ended up having to bring some sense of civility back, because they were getting to such a point of them trying to do harm to each other that they got close to murdering one another. Over not because of political reasons or whatnot. They were fighting because of some marriage related nonsense, because one group, the crazy hermit wanted to marry the Don Fernando's wife, but the woman was engaged to him. So obviously his family, he had first dibs on her. No, the lashes is in book 2. So then afterwards, they managed to capture Don Quixote, and in order to force him to return home, they tell him that his jail cell is enchanted. And then that's how Don Quixote book 1 ends. He's like forced to go home and rest from his weary travels. But so then some time passes in the real world, and somebody publishes a sequel to Don Quixote, and then Cervantes be like, "I didn't authorize a sequel to my best-selling book." And then 3 other sequels came out, and then since he was like angry that they were making money out of the character that he created, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna publish my own sequel and show them how Don Quixote should really be done." Though in dire straits, Carrie refuses to give in. "Drop dead. Watch out, your highness." But at this very instant, a sword pierces through Carrie's chest. Ah! Bewildered by the sudden turn of events, everyone turns their head towards the killer. "Oh my god, nice! Ah!" Oh, a bandit. See, you can't just like be doing crazy thing in the forest, like just very dangerous to like be out of the woods and whatnot, and then like some random just randomly attacks you. So like the guy who set an ambush was ambushed himself, and then another person gets ambushed, and an ambush within an ambush within an ambush within an ambush. Just a long string of people backstabbing each other. And then a Dark Souls 2 invader shows up. Well, the 3 one, a mad invader that's purple, who's chasing after your vertebrae in order to like make a neat pile. Yeah, but I'm not gonna get into like games that feature medieval knights. Yeah, we already spoke about Dark Souls. as a story for a podcast, whatever. As Carrie dashes towards you, Jax attacks him, and from behind him runs his sword through Carrie. Jax, why? Without the slightest inkling of mercy, he pulls his blade out, and blood dripping from the blade. And what a reckless idiot, and you were good for absolutely nothing. Carrie's corpse drops to the ground with a sickening thud. Who the hell are you? I guess he still has like some soldiers and whatnot. So yeah. Where was I?
Book 2.
Oh yeah, we were at the start of book 2. So then Don Quixote is like sitting in his bed and whatnot. And then his niece brings to him a book, and then she tells him like, look, uncle, somebody wrote this crazy book about you, about all of the crazy things you did when you were a wandering knight. And then like Don Quixote in book 2, he reads the first part of his own book, and then he'd be like, how the hell did he see all of this crazy thing I did? I must be getting stalked by a powerful wizard. So that's like the first time in like book-wise where a book character is aware that he's in a book a la Deadpool style. Well, not that he's in a book, not that he like when they bring in the book of his own story, it's kind of like fourth wall breaking if you think about it. Before the concept of a war even existed. So yeah, like the sequel of Don Quixote is like really ahead of his time because of like all of the meta jokes and whatnot. So then since he likes his own books, he decides, oh, I'm gonna go out for an adventure one more time. So then his family members are like, oh my god, not this again. So then they ask this other guy who's younger and more fit to dress up as a knight, and then just to defeat him in a duel in order to like just get him to stop with that knight nonsense, because since he's like 40 years old, he's considered old by Renaissance standards, and they want him to just like chill and relax and like retire and like just lay down and die kind of deal. They just worry about him, like regardless of his age, like you fall off a horse and it's a death sentence most of the time. Like tell me how many people have fallen off high horses and haven't ended up in like the hospital or something, or just the horse walking over you. Like those things are dangerous. You know, like people like romanticize like being on horseback, but you really cannot be fooling around. Like horses will kill you. So yeah, and especially a horse wearing an armor. So then he dresses up in armor, and then he encounters his nemesis, the Mirror Knight. And in his first encounter with his nemesis, he decides to dress up as a knight, but then he uses a shield as a mirror, and his reasoning for using a shield is to reflect the truth back at Don Quixote, because mirrors in those days, they were seen as reflecting the truth. So he wants Don Quixote to, while he's fighting him, to look at the mirror and see just how stupid he looks, so that he sees how everyone's looking at him, in order to demoralize him. And then their first encounter, it happens in the middle of the night, you know, a la cool boss fight fashion. But then the Mirror Knight ends up having a problem with his horse that disobeys him, because the horse is not used to carry. His horse wasn't used to carrying like heavy armor and stuff, and the horse got freaked out when he saw Don Quixote charging at him with a lance. So then, since the horse disobeyed the Mirror Knight, he lost his first duel against Don Quixote. So then, since he lost the first duel, the Mirror Knight then retreats, and then goes off to train Oscream. And he has to swear, and since he lost to Don Quixote, now he has to swear that Dulcinea Toboso is like the most beautiful woman that ever was. Because that's the rule. Like if you defeat someone in a nice duel, he has to swear that your girlfriend is like, is hotter than his girlfriend or any girlfriend that ever girlfriend. So yeah, that's something you like. If you go to like a medieval fair, that's something that you gotta remember. That when you defeat somebody in a duel, you gotta force him to swear that your chick is the hottest chick there ever was. All right, back to the plan. Full of suspicion, you stare at Jax. I'm just a little man. You needn't worry about me, Your Highness. Suddenly, Jax kneels down and pulls out something out of Carrie's pocket. It's a letter. What are you doing? He's destroying evidence. No, oh no, they got me. Stop him. Everyone get in there. Yeah, like Robin Hood's like the neon knight that I got. But Robin Hood, aside from King Arthur, Robin Hood is another guy that has been done to death in like movies. Oh my god, I can't tell you how many Robin Hood movies. Well, I could tell you how many Robin Hood movies there have been, but that feels like that's a topic for a later time. And for now, I just first want to finish ranting about Don Quixote in order to fill out the dead space, and then we'll talk about a different. Oh yeah, after he defeats the Mirror Knight. Alright. After stabbing Carrie, Jazz attempts to destroy a letter with criminal evidence, but you order your men to stop him. Your Highness, what did I do to deserve this? I hope you slay a traitor. Nonsense, give me that thing. Watch your mouth. He knows how to handle a sword, be careful. So yeah. Like Don Quixote's next adventure after he finishes defeating the Mirror Knight. So the Mirror Knight wasn't like something out of his imagination. He gets legitly an antagonist, somebody out to get him. His next adventure, he runs into a caravan. Yeah. No. Was it that one? No, like around the way he learns from a traveling caravan, a circus folks, those he doesn't attack because they're naturally dressed weird, and so then he treats them like he's his people, you know. So he vibes well with like circus folks, and then they don't question why he dressed like a wandering knight, The circus people they be like, oh, he's just probably just another street performer, and he's doing his own thing, and we're doing our own thing. So, you know, cosplayers get along well with each other. He ran into a wandering anime convention. Or what was considered that in the old days, just circus folks. And then they told him that in Madrid there was gonna be a jousting competition and to go there. But the sad part is that that's left as a long-hanging fruit because we never go back to that. He never goes to Madrid to do a jousting competition. He does something completely different. So obviously the writer of Don Quixote, since it was such a big fat book, he completely forgot about that. Like he forgot about some other things, and then he brings it up. Oh, I just remember something else I forgot. In book one, Sancho Panza loses his donkey, but then the writer he sometimes mentions that Sancho Panza has his donkey, not monkey. It's his lesser horse, his donkey. He forgets that he has, so then he sometimes writes that Sancho Panza has the donkey when he shouldn't. So then, because he got so used to writing that Sancho Panza and his donkey, and then he recovers his donkey because he got stolen. And then when Don Quixote is reading his own book in the sequel, he's saying like, what the hell is wrong with that disappearing and reappearing donkey? Like, what the hell? Like he calls out continuity errors in his own book, and it's hilarious. Like the book character critiquing his own writer and his own continuity errors. And then that's the last time that Cervantes gets rid of the donkey because he just got so used to thinking that Sancho Panza is biologically fused with his donkey, and he can't imagine him any other way. So when they stole the donkey, it's like he just forgot about it. And I forgot about that episode too. But yeah, it's hilarious. Which is something you can do if somebody calls out your book flaws in like your first book. In your sequel, you can have your main character be self-aware and turn it into a joke, a la Deadpool style. Oh yeah, and he also complains about like, you know, like it was common back then that like books had to be a certain width. So then Cervantes, in order to add filler to the book, he added a short story that being told by Don Quixote called The Curious Impertinent, The Impertinent Curiouser, o El Curioso Impertinente. And for the life of me, I cannot even remember what the stupid story was like, because it was like just filler. And even Don Quixote, when he read that part of the story, he'd be like, I don't remember telling this stupid story. That was just put there as filler. And then he'd be like, why would I tell such a stupid story? And then Cervantes later on gets back to Don Quixote by putting a bunch of poetry at the end of Don Quixote 2. Jackass might be a skilled warrior, but on his own, he doesn't stand a chance against your knights. Your Highness, I'm all alone, and yet you're fighting me with a troop of knights by your side. You're violating knightly virtues. Your friends is just truly admirable, and if you wish, you could abandon the dark side and join us. Join me, Darth Vader. Medieval Darth Vader, the dark side. Oh my god. They're bringing some Star Wars into this nice tale. I appreciate your praise, Your Highness, but I will never betray my master. The sun and the and Jack's one of their horses. Must wait for a let him get away. Like, where did I leave off? No, but after. Oh yeah. So instead of going to Madrid to do like a jousting tournament, Don Quixote encounters some people that were bringing presents to the Spain, and among the presents that they were lugging about was a lion that like straight out of Africa. So then Don Quixote be like, wow, that's a real lion. I gotta fight him. And then like Sancho Panza be like, dude, are you out of your freaking mind? This isn't like the windmill. That is a legit lion. This is like the windmill of the shepherd. That is a real lion. Okay. In the middle of the fight, Jackass is whisked away by his cohorts. The bastard ran off. Ugh. Buddy, are you alright? I'll be fine. That's kind of running us a thing or two about fencing, and next time I had to get even with him. Let's take a look at Carrie's body, and we might find some more clues. And by take a look, he means like just stabbing it around. Oh yeah, don't forget to like give a like to the stream if you're having fun with me, telling you little nice stories in between the fighting. Oh yeah, so he ran. So then he tells him that is legit a lion, and then Sancho Panza, I saw the claw of the lion sticking out of the cell of the cage, and I could tell you that it's as big as a mountain. So then Don Quixote be like, fear works reality, and since you're afraid of the lion, of course you're gonna see it as bigger than what it actually is. So then the owner of the lion, he warns him, I still haven't fed the lions, and they're like freaking angry. So if I open the cage, there's gonna be a good chance that he's gonna come to eat you. So then before the lion fight, Sancho Panza, he had bought some cheese, and then he had stored it in Don Quixote's hat. And the reason why he started in Don Quixote's hat is because Don Quixote had lost his knight helmet when fighting the windmill, so then as a replacement he was using a frying pan. So then Sancho Panza, since he saw a pan and he wanted some cheese, he just stored it in his master's hat. So then Don Quixote be like, give me my pan and my helmet. So then he goes to fight the lion with like cheese on his helmet. And then so then the cheese starts melting, and then he'd be like, well, am I sweating, or what the hell is it that's dripping from my head? And it was the cheese. So then the lion, when they open the cage, he looks at Don Quixote, and then he looks about, like bored cats usually do, and then he just goes back into his cage, and he doesn't fight him. Even though Don Quixote is yelling at him, trying to goad the lion into attacking him. So then he tells the owner of the lion, like, poke the lion. Okay. You examine Carrie's body. There's nothing here. And wait, look at this. What is it? And Greg points at a strange picture tattooed on Carrie's chest. I've seen that before. He said, you have? Like, what's tattooed there? Like the sulfur cross, or maybe like a weird transmutation circle? No, like he has something tattooed there. Or maybe it's like I remember that in the Scarlet Letter they will brand the baby, so adulterous woman as well. Maybe he has like a burn mark or of an A or something, a la Scarlet Letter style. You gotta be like some sick sadistic bastard to like brand a little baby. Like medieval people were jerks like that. Okay, so yeah. So then the lion, he completely ignores Don Quixote. So then Don Quixote tells the lion tamer guy, poke the lion. I want to fight him for real. So then like the owner of the lion be like, dude, if I poke the lion, the one who the lion is going to attack is me. You go poke the lion. And then Don Quixote be like, no, you poke the lion. So then since nobody wanted to poke the lion, they'd be like, well, we should call it a draw. Well, the lion was too scared to fight you. But no, the lion was hungry, and he was hot, and it was the middle of summer, and he found his cool cage very comfortable, so he just didn't leave it. So then Sancho Panza pays the people to like start telling everyone that Don Quixote beat up a lion in order to increase his master's fame. And then that's how some noble guys hear about it. And then they eventually go looking for Don Quixote in order to like have some fun at his expense. So then like a good portion of the book is just Don Quixote hanging out with a bunch of bored noblemen with that decided to make sport of him. When you find a strange picture on Carrie's body, Talbot and Kevin both cry out in shock. You've seen this picture before? Yes, Your Highness. This is a symbol of a secret organization. Kevin, what about you? Your Highness, I've seen a picture of that in my father's place, and it seems that my father might have something to do with all of this. Yeah, but at least describe me the symbol. It'll be fun. Is it like a sulfur cross? Like, am I getting attacked by the Illuminati? What else like a society do you know? Well, if you know about it, how they can be that secret? Yeah, like the fact that we know about the Illuminati and the Skull and Bones is, yeah. It's like they're not so secret anymore. So it makes no point calling them a secret society if people know that they exist, you know? Yeah. Whatever, I'm just divagating, but the long and short of it is like, if people know the existence of your secret society, then you're not doing the whole secret thing, right? Having examined Carrie's body, you found a clue pointing towards Aves the Throne Usurper. Is there anyone else who wants to do me harm? Have you known about this all along? After all this time, you still don't trust me, Greg. I'll never trust you. This is not the time to start sowing dissent, and we should be thinking about how to deal with the throne usurper. The same way we deal with all problems. Stabby. So yeah, well, like one of the first pranks that they play on Don Quixote is that they tell him that he's gonna go on a magic horse ride, that on a horse that flies about and stuff. So then they blindfold Don Quixote and Sancho Panza, and then they have before even all of that, the cave of Montesinos. Like Don Quixote, he decides to go down this cave that belonged to this ancient medieval knight guy called Montesinos. And then then he climbs the cave down there, and then he claims to have met the guy, and had gotten like inspiration for him and whatnot. So then we push forward back to the magic horse ride, but they tell him that he has to ride the horse blindfolded. So then, since he's blindfolded, he doesn't realize that the flying horse is actually just a wooden pony, and that they're just moving it about and whatnot. No, déjate faster the wooden horse. No. So yeah. So then, while he's riding the wooden horse and whatnot, while blindfolded, Sancho Panza, a part of his blindfold falls off, and then after the horse ride, he tells Don Quixote that he saw that they were flying ridiculously high while on the horseback. So then Don Quixote tells him, like, really? Because in that point we realize that Don Quixote is not as crazy as he's pretending to be, because he tells Sancho Panza, you thought that we were flying, but I know for a fact that we were on a wooden horse, so what the hell do you see? So that's the part where Sancho Panza starts hallucinating, because they were definitely on a wooden horse in the ground, but yet he imagined that he was like flying about and stuff. So then he tells him that he'll believe his nonsense if he believes that that he actually met the legit Montesinos. You and your counselors return to the city of Nivel to discuss how to deal with the throne usurper. We can declare war on the throne usurper to avenge our old lord, and our lord has just consolidated the reign, and it's too early to provoke an open conflict. I agree with Greg. Yeah, we must bide our time and whatnot. So yeah, then afterwards they are like, I think before he goes into play around with the nobles, Don Quixote asks Sancho Panza to go see Dulcinea and to ask him how she's doing. So then Sancho Panza goes off looking for a woman that resembles Dulcinea, but since he doesn't find her, he just tells Don Quixote that he spoke to a random chick, and then he tells her that is her. And then he tells him that the reason why it doesn't look like the real Dulcinea is because she's enchanted. And then Sancho Panza proceeds to tell Don Quixote what the Dulcinea that he claims to be seeing. So then he tells him that she has like teeth. He tries to imitate the flowery language, but it ends up like weird. And he tells him that instead of pearly teeth, he tells him that she has pearly hair. Because all he knows is that they describe pearls, and then they'll be like, what? And she has teeth like a mouse, and then he tells her that she has like a huge mole, and then they'll be like, what? And then they'll be like, no, but the hairs coming out of the mole are like the blondest and silky I've ever seen. So he just describes like a creepy woman, like an impossible woman. And then just to use the Don Quixote logic in order to, because he just got bored of looking for a chick, for like the real Dulcinea. So then they never meet the real Dulcinea. So then afterwards they made Sancho Panza. So then we're back with the nobles that were playing pranks on Don Quixote. When he hears Kevin's words of approval, Greg lets out a skeptic laugh. Kevin, I think you don't want us to fight your father. Say what you want, but I only answer to our Lord. I think you think. The guy rushing in and interrupts you. Your Highness, I have a letter from Aves the Throne Usurper. And the letter came, and also an assassin. So yeah, like, oh yeah, so where did I leave off? Well, I think I'll continue after the little battle thing and we'll trigger the next story beat. You quickly open the letter. Your Highness, what is the wretched usurper saying? He says that he'll send envoys to negotiate peace with us. That snake is definitely playing dirty tricks on us. Your Highness, what are you planning to do? Butcher the envoys or something? Or anything. So yeah. The noble people, in order to have fun, they made Sancho Panza the governor of one of their little regions. So then, Sancho Panza, Don Quixote managed to fulfill his promise. Sancho Panza got to be the ruler of a little city. And so then they start playing tricks and like pretending to like bring it. So then like the first decree of Sancho Panza was that him thinking of all of the things that Don Quixote taught him is that he tells his subjects that he wants them to build a school as big as a kitchen and a kitchen as big as a school. So then the guys don't know if he wants like a huge kitchen with a tiny little school or a big or if he just wants everything super sized. And then they feed him and then they realize that yeah, he wants the school tiny and the kitchen huge. Because it's important to eat more, because it's important to eat. So then after pranking Sancho Panza for a bit, the irony being, Sancho Panza becomes disheartened with being like a governor and whatnot because he realizes that it's actually harder than what it is and that he's not ready to be governing people. But after he added his power, in order to return with Don Quixote, the laws that he left ended up being good and they were still being practiced even till the modern day. Even till the modern day and whatnot. So that was just the irony of it, that Sancho Panza, that was almost practically illiterate, ended up being a good governor because he learned a lot while traveling with Don Quixote about knighthood and like good rules or laws and whatnot. So then that's by now a sign of how two characters who are polar opposites, how they start affecting each other's personality with Don Quixote becoming more skeptical like Sancho Panza, and Sancho Panza becoming more imaginative and more learned like Don Quixote. So then after he goes back for the trade, they decide to play the final prank on Don Quixote. And then they bring an ugly maiden and then they tell him that hag is actually Dulcinea, but that she's being hexed. And that the only way to lift the curse is for Sancho Panza to give himself like 1,000 lashes, like whipping himself. So then Sancho Panza be like, why is it that threw me? Why is it that like I gotta suffer physically for like the salvation of another? So then they just, with over there were like, Cervantes was was like poking fun at one of the biggest mantras of Catholicism, which is like the character of Jesus Christ, that through his suffering, people find salvation. So then Dulcinea's salvation is dependent on Sancho Panza's physical suffering and torment, and Sancho Panza doesn't want to like give himself 1,000 lashes for like a woman that only exists in the mind of his master. So then what he does is that he said every so often he tells when they go back to like wandering about and stuff, every so often Don Quixote tells him, so how are you going with the lashes? Like, how many have you given yourself already? And then Sancho Panza be like, oh, I'm getting to it. Like, while you were sleeping, I gave myself like 100 lashes. But now my hand is tired, so now I rest. Your phantoms think for a while. I do wish to avenge my father and brother, but now it's still too early. Does that mean we have to accept the throne usurper's proposal? Haha, peaceful coexistence is not in my father's nature. Let's see for ourselves what is it that he truly wants. Alright. So then eventually, it's just what Sancho Panza's doing. Instead of like giving lashes to himself, he just whips a rock or whips some grass, just to create, because it tells Don Quixote that he doesn't want him to look at him while he's whipping himself. And then he tells him that it was just like that time that he was fooling around in the woods, that he didn't want his Sancho Panza to see him making a fool of it of himself. So he's like he's playing off that. So since Sancho Panza had the courtesy to give him privacy, now he wants privacy when whipping himself. But then instead of whipping himself, he just like whips like the grass and the trees and whatnot. But that still makes him tired because he has to like do a lot of hand motions. A few days later, the Throne Usurper envoy arrived in your castle. The envoy exhibits extreme arrogant behavior with no consideration for the royal protocol. This castle looks shabby. Bow to the Lord. Lord, what Lord? Bow to the Lord, we say. Alright, it's time to send the knights to force them to bend the knee. Kneel. The Grass Tyson. Whatever, that's a bad joke. Wow, no, like, this way is gonna take like 1,000,000 soldiers to just clear one stage. So yeah. So then eventually Don Quixote runs into the Mirror Knight again, and the Mirror Knight had Offspring trained and leveled up a lot, so he was ready for him. And after practicing with his horse, the Mirror Knight defeats Don Quixote. And then since Don Quixote lost the duel, the Mirror Knight tells him that since he won, Don Quixote is not allowed to be a knight anymore for at least 2 years. So then defeated Don Quixote goes home and like feeling awful for like his terrible existence. And then since he's looking very sad, Sancho Panza says, what is, since you can't play knight for 2 years, why don't we instead play shepherds, and then we can write romantic poetry about Dulcinea and our loved ones, and it'll be something new that we can play. So then they plan their next cosplay and their next adventure and whatnot. But since Don Quixote lost his duel and he can't play knight, he just a la Star Wars, he loses the will to live, and then like he's in death, and then in his deathbed he recovers his sanity, quote unquote, and we find out which one was his true name and whatnot. And then at the end of the book, instead of highlighting his knight exploits, they finally tells us about who Don Quixote was before he took on the mantle of knighthood. And they told us that he was like a very good nobleman who was like very charitable, and he was constantly helping people and whatnot. And that's why he had a lot of friends and family members who were like worried about his well-being and whatnot, because he was a very good friend, you know. And then like Sancho Panza in tears be like the biggest man like that he has to fight that illness that's afflicting him, because the biggest madness that a person can do is allow oneself to die. But that's how Don Quixote ends his adventures. He's one of the few knights who dies peacefully in bed, surrounded by his loved ones. But that's usually something that happens to folks when they're forced into retirement, that they doesn't that they were actually thriving back when they were doing the things they like and whatnot, and that at the moment that they were forced to like stop and retire, quote unquote, then they decayed and whatnot. But yeah, it's like important to like not push oneself, but also don't like force somebody into complete and utter idleness and whatnot. But like it's important to remain relatively active, like not so much active that you're gonna like break yourself, but just getting out of the couch every once in a while, which is something that I plan to do as soon as I finish the stream and whatnot. But we'll deal with it. I wanna at least finish this chapter. The envoy scorns and makes everyone very angry. The noble standing in front of you is the lord of the southern realm. Haha, isn't that the lord who escaped from our castle? You ought to show some respect. The same goes for you, you traitors, and I am the envoy of Lord Aves. Like Aves, that means bird in Spanish. Oh yeah. So like I hope that you have like fun me like telling you a bunch of little nights. If you're just tuning in and whatnot, please like give a like and whatnot. And I'm gonna be streaming more of these little night stories, of this little night mobile gaming, like the future and whatnot. Just wanna have enough like resources to make it through the plot. But since we're early in the game, it's still doable. Even that painter chick can fight. Alright, so let me just head out and whatnot, and I think I did enough for this game for today. I hope you have fun watching. Bye bye and God bless. Don't forget to give a like.